Hey, what's up, guys? All right, so I am on day 6 of ACL, PCL reconstruction and a whole lot of other stuff done. And I wanted to just give you guys an update on where things are at. So I'd love to say that day 6 is so much better than what day 3 was, and it's not. This basically sucks. I wish that I could say that this is awesome. You know, I'm feeling so much better, and it's not. I know that there was a lot of damage, and the doctor was expecting that this was going to be a pretty difficult recovery for me, just because of how much damage was in the knee. I just was expecting to not be as in pain as what I still am. So for me, when I went into this as a fitness professional, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to bounce back easily. You know, this recovery is going to be so much easier for me because I exercise. I'm really good on my nutrition. You know, I have trained my legs so smart that they're going to bounce back right away. And not to say that that's not going to be the case for me once I begin physical therapy, because that very much could be the case. And I do notice that my leg is still strong. Like I can do straight leg raises. My extension is fine. I have no problems with the extension. I'm even, you know, bending at 100 degrees now. So there are good improvements where I see that my being prepared beforehand what came in handy, but the pain wise, like I just wasn't expecting this. And it's not that the incisions hurt. My incisions don't bother me. I have 4. I have one that is below the kneecap, and then I have 2 in the kneecap, and then I have 1 to the side. And those aren't bad. Those don't bother me at all. It's muscle pain. It's like 100% muscle pain. My calf muscle especially seems to be one of the worst. It gets so tight and it just feels like it's gonna Charlie horse. My hamstrings just ache all the time. A lot of that has to do with the fact that they took my graft from my hamstring. So of course that's gonna be sore, and muscle pain is just the worst. It just is. My last night I laid on the floor like a 4-year-old crying because, one, mentally this is just getting to me. It's just hard. I'm not used to laying around all day. I am used to working out 6 days a week. I'm used to being with my clients, being surrounded by this happy, cheery environment, and being everybody's cheerleader, and surrounding everyone with love and support, and being isolated, even though my family's here and stuff. But very much being isolated, you know, confined to like one room, and watching TV is just sounds glorious at the time, because even I was like, oh, this will be great, you know, like I can catch up on some of my shows, I can read some books, just get a little downtime, because I don't necessarily have that. I'm such a busy person. No, it sucks. Like when you actually get it, sucks. And so for me, mentally laying on the floor, that was one of the things. And then physically, like this just hurts. It just does. I was not prepared for the pain of going from a laying down position into a standing position. When you have this surgery, I tried to Google to see if I could find anything that said anything about this, and I couldn't. And then I asked my doctor about it, and they said it was normal. But when I go from a laying position to a standing position, all the blood seems to rush right down into my calf. It makes my leg swell. And then my calf just contracts into like the absolute worst Charlie horse you could possibly imagine. And it hurts so bad that you don't even want to put any kind of weight down on your foot. And you don't think that you can walk for a few minutes. I mean, just like a Charlie horse does. Of course, if you can put your foot down and if you can flex your foot, that will release it just the same way as a Charlie horse. That will help it. But it's just so difficult to get there, and it's just all the time. So if you have to get up and pee, if you have to get up and walk around, like it's just constant. And then it just aches afterwards forever. Like it just aches and aches and aches. So those have been things that have been really, really tough on me. That I just wasn't expecting. I thought day 6 I should be feeling a lot better. I even thought maybe this week would be the week that I could get back to maybe seeing some of my clients. Of course, unrealistic expectations, but still, I was like, oh, maybe I'll be up, moving around and I can, meet with some of my clients and stuff. Yeah, that's not going to happen. But the good thing is because it is muscular, this is my expertise because I am a corrective exercise specialist and I, focus on things like foam rolling and myofascial release and all that kind of stuff. I did have some tools that were super beneficial and that were helpful for me, and I want to share those with you. So the first one is you heard me talk about my foam roller on day 3. Day 6, I'm going to introduce you to this little thing. So it's just a what do you want to call it? Rolling pin. This one is from Pampered Chef. My children love to cook, and so I had purchased them a kids pizza baking set, and this little thing came with it. I thought it was cute, and oh, it's so little. Well, guess what? This is actually proven to be super, super, super helpful for me. It's half the size of a rolling pin, so if you can find something like this, this is a great, great, great size. But what you can do is I roll the tops of my legs, of course staying away from my knee, but I just roll the tops, get my quads, and just kind of go from side to side, rolling it down. Find a tender spot. So it's super important that you don't go on the joint and you don't get near the bone. You want to make sure that you're in the belly of the muscle, and you're going to look for a tender spot. So once you find that tender spot, then you're going to hold onto that tender spot for about 30 seconds. It hurts, but then it's crazy because then all of a sudden it just releases and you feel so much better. That's just lengthening that muscle out. So I roll the tops, I roll my TFL, I roll my IT band, and then I roll over and I make sure I get into my glutes area. I don't touch the hamstrings because that's an area I don't want to mess with right now, especially because the graft was taken from there. So I leave those alone. But same thing with my calf. I'll bring it under and I'll roll my calf. I roll the sides, staying away from my shin, but roll underneath, and that seems to help a little bit. That does seem to relieve some of that muscle pain, which is what myofascial release is supposed to do. The other thing is kinesio tape. So this stuff is awesome. Doctors use this. I mean, medical doctors, orthopedics, athletes, they all use this stuff, and it is awesome. It gives you almost a stable feeling, and it can release some of that pain. So kinesio tape is definitely something I recommend. I have a strip on the back of my calf, I have a strip on my IT band, and I have a strip on my hamstring and across my glute. And that seems to have helped a little bit in easing some of this muscle pain that I've got going on. The other thing too is, so you're laying in bed all the time, which is going to cause muscle imbalance. You also have a ginormous brace on your leg, which is also throwing things off balance because one side is heavier than the other, and you're on crutches. So you're not 100% on one side is overcompensating. And so my amazing chiropractor, Dr. Jim, stopped over at my house, which was amazing. He knew I had the surgery, and he brought me a gift, and it was called the Sorolla belt. And what this is it relieves lower back pain, hip pain, and leg pain, and it normalizes the function of the sacroiliac joint. So what it does is it lays low across your hips, you bring it together, and then you have another strip, and you take that strip and then squeeze it across, and it basically just hold your butt together. And what that does is it sounds uncomfortable, and at first it feels uncomfortable, but then it brings so much relief to your lower back because everything's nice and tight and close and stable, and it's balanced. And so I can actually lay in bed all day with this thing, and it doesn't bother me. It actually brings me relief. Last night was a particularly rough night, and as soon as I put that back on, I was able to get a couple hours of sleep just from that belt. So that's something that I would definitely look into. The other thing is, so when you are showering, the old rule of thumb was grab a trash bag and some tape and tape that sucker up in order to take a shower. Well, I had bought tape, and then my children love to do crafts, and so they took the tape and they ran off, and I have no idea where it's at. So when I wanted to shower, I did not have the tape, so instead I had my husband. I was like trying to think of what I could use, and then it dawned on me: saran wrap. I had my husband grab some saran wrap, and I wrapped this sucker around where my incisions are. My incisions are glued, and they are covered by a clear adhesive tape. I don't have an ace bandage or dressings or anything else like that. It's just those Band-Aids on there. And so I took the saran wrap, wrapped it around, kept everything nice and dry. It took me 2 seconds to put it on, and it took me 2 seconds to get it off, which was awesome. Seriously awesome. Kept everything right where it needed to be. So definitely a lifesaver when you are having any kind of operation on the lower extremities or even wrists. I'm sure you could use it for that. But definitely saran wrap is a lifesaver over trash bags and tape. So those are a couple of tools that I'm using that are helping with some of the stuff that I'm going through. I am hoping that later on I can get downstairs and maybe try and do just a little bit of upper body lifting. Nothing heavy. I'll just use my 5-pound weights, but my body needs to move. My body needs to feel functional again. It's used to working out. It's used to doing things. And I think mentally for me, I need to get that in for me. And I think that that would help. So I will update you on how that workout goes. And yeah, I think that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in. All right, see ya.